Hey everybody, welcome to another edition of Launch TV Church Lives Matter. Isn't this exciting?
Yes.
Oh my gosh, we're going to have some more courageous conversation. Don't forget to like, share, and comment. If you did not tune in to our last broadcast where we talked about a lot of things concerning Church Lives Matters with 4 women that we had on our panel, and go back and look at it on YouTube or our Facebook at the Launch Church SA. So we have Dontario Dixon. Woohoo! We have Ashley Turner. This is my baby sister, blood sister, right? And then we also have Ebony Moore. And we have, everybody here is a part of the Launch Church, and we just want to jump into some courageous conversation, just like we did the last time. Okay, so we are still in the middle of a pandemic, right?
Right.
Yeah. Sadly.
Yeah, sadly. I know, right? And we just wish that it would end.
Yeah.
Every time. It was like, okay, can it just be over now? And so thinking about that we're still in the middle of a pandemic, how do you stay connected to the church during such a time as this? Ontario.
For me, I would say the best way to stay connected is just being involved. As we have daily prayer, or we come and pray here at the church, or different things, that is just being involved. And being connected is being involved. You can't expect to be connected if you're not involved. If you're not present in everything, not necessarily even everything, but present in some things. Or if you don't open your mouth and say anything to anybody, how can you really expect to be connected?
Oh, that's good. That's good, right? How can you expect to be connected if you don't ever open your mouth?
Yeah. A lot of, as we really be honest, a lot of us go through a lot of things in life where we feel like we're alone or isolated because we won't open our mouth.
Right.
Closed mouths don't get fed. So in actually opening our mouths to say, hey, I'm lonely. Hey, I don't feel good. Hey, I need somebody. Hey, I just need a hug. Sometimes we need to swallow our pride and just open our mouth and say what's going on.
Well,
What you got to say, Ebony?
that keyword pride. Oh, I was whipped this time with that pride. I'm like, God, I'm sorry.
Oh my gosh.
That pride is something, I've learned a lesson this season with that pride. That's all.
It's just something that we all have to really work through. We have pride and don't really know. Oh, I don't want everybody to know my business, or the old school saying, "What happens in this house stays in this house."
That's true.
It's even a point where we don't trust our fellow church members. We see you week in and week out, but we can't trust you to say, "Hey, I need help."
Oh, that's good. So the people that you saw week in and week out, now you don't see them. You may see them on Facebook. If you're on Facebook or any kind of social media, you may or may not. And you want to reach out. Do you reach out? Do you say anything?
But it's who can you trust that's going to pray for you and not talk about you? And sometimes, like, I just came out of this season. I'm not even going to say season because you told me to say season. So the end of 19 started my depression.
Okay.
I go through it every year. It's like a genetic thing with me. But this time it was the worst. And I got to the point where I was coming to church, and I had on this nice mask. Ain't nobody knew what was going on with me. And I felt alive. Like, coming around God's people made me alive. It brings life. It brings joy. But when I go home, I'm back into this deep depression. I got so tired of that. And when I talk to people, it was like no positive in me nowhere.
Wow.
There was no positive.
Yeah.
So it's like,
It's
I
true,
know
huh?
my words have power. They have a lot of power. So I don't want to talk to nobody right now. The best thing for you to do, since if you know that I'm an outgoing person and I stay connected and you don't see me, pray for me, because I can't talk to you because what I'm going to say probably going to kill me.
Wow. What
yeah.
comes out of your mouth is
Right.
actually death.
Exactly.
During
Exactly.
a time of depression.
Exactly.
And now in a time of isolation,
Mm-hmm.
depression, all where you're by yourself, where you don't have a choice.
Mm-hmm.
Literally, you don't have a choice. We ain't seen you in a long time, Ebony.
You
How you
know?
doing, right?
But that's why it's important to stay connected to a body of Christ. Because you have to be under a leader so your leaders can pray for you. Your sisters and brothers can pray for you. God forbid if I didn't have the launch. Ain't no telling. Or even churches that I've been to that I'm still connected to outside of the launch. People praying, you have to be with people that's going to pray.
Yeah.
If they're not going to pray for you, then what kind of circle are you in?
Wow.
You know, so it's important to be involved
Yeah.
and have that covering, because he probably would have, God showed me, I saw this, and this is what brought me up, because I literally, he showed me going into a place where I know where when the darkness took me on when I was younger, and he showed me going back into that place, and the place, the trailer park that I stayed in, it no longer exists.
Wow.
So it was there, and it was like dark, and I'm like, where y'all taking me? You know, people that I'm thinking that are my friends, and I'm following them, and it was like this dark place in the trailer that I stayed in. My mama, her friend, some other people was in there, and they opened the door, and and her friend was like, "You better come on, come on here." It was the light, but in order to get to the light, I seen, you know, what death looked like, you know, the black with the hood. You don't see
The
nothing.
Grim Reaper, yeah.
I literally seen the people I was with, like, "You better come on, he's right there," and he was coming towards me, and I had to run past him to get to the light. And I woke up, I got my stuff because I wasn't at home. That's how depressed I was. I didn't stay at home, and because I didn't feel safe. But I got my stuff and I went home. I said, "God, I'm sorry." I repented. I took my vitamins. I don't know what happened, but I'm alive, because it showed me that death will get you.
Yeah.
If you don't come on, the devil's about to get you.
Don't forget to like and share this broadcast. Don't forget.
Yes, like, share.
Like and share. So
Point,
we're
point.
talking about depression. And you say, Ebony, that this is, and I remember talking to you and I said, you know, you got to change your language. And so you're like, I go through this every year, so it's something to be expected, right? So this time, how did you get out?
This one was the worst of them all. I never, and I believe because I am a part of the launch and where God is taking me, the devil don't want me to get there. You know, and I know it's a saying that people say, if the devil's not bothering you, that means you're already holding his hand. So thank you for messing with me.
Yeah.
You know, but at the same time, it was really hard. It was really hard. I couldn't pray for myself. I couldn't read. I didn't want to be around nobody. Like, this was like the worst of the worst. So what I did do was, I used to write down prayers. You know, and I'd be
When
like,
you couldn't say it out loud, you wrote your prayers
I wrote it
down. That's good.
Write it down, like, God, please, you're going to have to take this.
Yeah.
Or, you know, I don't know what to do. I couldn't listen to gospel. It just was no positive. It was to the point where I didn't care if I lived or died, went to heaven or hell. That's how bad it was.
Oh.
And it was kind of like, I was like, okay, God, but only my daughter. And so I was like, okay, I'm going to have to get it together.
Yeah.
How do you find yourself? How do you get it together? And when you in that type of state of mind, you know, so
Yeah.
I would get a call from the sisters in the church, like, he'd be like, "I'm just calling to check up on you," or you would send a text. Like, that gave me motivation. Even if it was just a little, it gave me motivation. And so as I was writing and seeing these things, yeah, I have to believe that God is going to bring me out.
Yeah.
And so when I start gaining my strength, I would hear, I told you, I would hear you singing the song,
What was this song?
pour out your praise, it's your breath.
It's your breath
Yeah,
in
that
our
right there.
lungs, so we pour
And
out our praise. Yeah.
That song, that's the only gospel song that I listened to, but it was something about the way you sung it, it really ministered to me.
Wow.
And so anytime that I needed a little bit of, you know, I would put that song on. and I would be okay.
Yeah.
But it was really hard, but I had to keep pushing, like, God, you really have to get me out of this. Like, you have to, and then he'll show me things in dreams, and then I'd be like, well, I just saw this such and such.
Yeah.
Whoever he showed me, it'd be like, you're right on. I'm like, God, how can you still use me in this mindset?
Wow, that's good.
Why are you still using me? Like, I don't even know how to pray for myself. I don't know how to minister to myself. I don't know how to get myself out of this rock right now.
Yeah.
And I go back into my books, my journals, and I see, like, I remember all that shit. I was like, I just want to be like Jesus.
Yes.
I don't have to be no first lady. I don't
Yes.
have to be no evangelist.
Yes.
I just want to be like
Just
Jesus,
be like Jesus. That's it.
But you have to go through.
Yeah.
Jesus went through. How can you pray that and say that?
Mhm.
And then I test you.
Oh, that's good.
And it's like, God, you're not even hearing me. Are you there?
Be
Yeah. Are you
careful what you
there?
ask for.
There.
That's true.
Right,
That's
right.
true.
So I think you be careful what you pray for. It's like, God, please, I just, he gonna give you. But you have to trust the process.
Yeah.
You have to trust the process, because you're gonna have to get there. Then he started telling me, this is not for you. So I was gaining my strength even more. This is not for me. Look what I brought you through.
Yeah.
You've been through all this. Did I have you then? I still have you now.
Yeah.
You know, you can say all the, God, you said you would never leave me there. When that's not even there.
Yeah. Yeah. That's right.
That's not even there.
Because in depression,
Yes.
you're struggling back and forth. It's like good and bad, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Depression is something else. I went through depression too.
My goodness.
Anybody else? Depression.
I've been there. I've even been to the several times, even the course of my life, of wanting to end it. A couple of times I even planned to. It was looking about it now. It's like, okay, God, I see where you were in all of it. There were many times over the course of my teenage years that I planned. I was like, okay, I'm gonna do it this day at this time. I'm gonna slit my wrist. I'm gonna swallow these pills. I'm gonna do it. And every time I planned it, something would come up. There would be a church event that my aunt would make me go to,
Wow.
or a Bible study, or something that I could never go through with it. The last time that I never will forget, I was actually here in Texas, so I understand the yearly cycle of the depression. So after my mom passed in 2011, the end of the year, beginning of the year was always a hard time for me. So I'm living in an apartment. Finances were jacked up, the little boo thing I thought I had, all that, everything just went haywire. And so I'm sitting on the side of my bed with a knife in my hand at my wrist. All I had to do was pull. And it was literally like someone else was holding my hand.
Wow.
And it's like, I want to do it, but I don't want to do it. And I'm struggling, and I couldn't get the strength enough to drop the knife. And I was about to pull it, and I heard the Lord just say in my ear, drop it. And it was finally like whatever that had my hand let go. And all I could do was grab my phone, and I grabbed my phone, and I had some friends in the church that I was going to, and I just called them. I was like, I just need you to come get me.
Yeah.
Just come pick me up. I don't know. I don't care where I'm going. I don't care what I need someone to come pick me up. And so that's one of the great things that I love as far as being in the church and having as the church, that when you are in a situation, even if you don't have having those people that you don't even have to tell them the fullness of the situation, just saying, I need you.
I need you.
And they come running.
Right.
I need you. I need to talk. I need to vent. I need a hug. I need you. And they don't come asking questions. They don't come, oh, well, what is it? Let me fix it.
Right.
They're just, okay, I'm here. Whatever you need, I'm here. Exactly.
And that's it.
So it's hard sometimes. What about you, Ashley?
It's hard. Like, I live it. I breathe it. Like, it's almost a daily thing for me. Not depression, but pride.
That's
Pride.
good.
It's a daily thing for me, because I don't want anybody to know that I am hurt.
Yeah.
I don't want anybody to know that, hey, I do need that hug.
Yeah.
I don't want anybody to know that, hey, today is just not a good day. It's just not. I mean, I woke up this morning, I'm blessed, I feel blessed, but down in me, past your spirit, past you feel like your soul, like down in you, I just don't feel good. I just don't feel right. I just don't want to get out of the bed. I just don't want to do nothing. I don't want to cook. I don't want to do nothing. I don't want to clean.
Yeah.
I don't want to do nothing. But nobody knows that because I do it regardless of how I feel. I still have to be a mother,
Yeah.
despite of the way that I feel in me.
Yeah.
I still have to be this provider, despite of the way that I feel.
Yeah.
I still have to go to work, despite of me wanting to stay in the bed. You mean, because who's gonna then pay my bills?
Yeah.
You know, or who's gonna then be the provider to take care of my kids?
Yeah.
If I don't do it, but because of the isolation right now in this season, well, not this season, in this time in
Yeah,
our lives,
right.
and this time in our lives, because it's just not my life. It's all of us.
Yeah.
We're all in this same. It's almost like a pit.
Oh, that's
You know,
good.
we're all in this. We're
Yeah.
all in this,
Yeah.
and you know, to know that I'm not in this pit alone. Sometimes that alone is enough
Yeah.
for me.
Yeah.
To know that, hey, in this time, you know, I feel isolated. I feel alone. I feel like I'm not connected with my church family. Not connected with my how I am. You know,
Yeah.
I mean, we go to church Tuesday. Go to church. I'm here early. You know,
Yeah.
these things.
Yeah.
I'm involved. I'm involved. You know, and then to then take that whole platform away from you, and then you have a platform to where, hey, log in to this,
Yeah.
and you're like,
It's a new normal.
yeah,
almost. Yeah.
you know, like, but at the same time, it allowed so much more to happen within me
Yeah.
and in myself because of the isolation. God was able to then bring me out of the isolation pit.
Yeah,
per se.
that's
You know what I
good.
mean? So, yeah, yeah.
That's good
Because
though, Ebony.
even when we were going to church, and just like you said, even when we were going to church, it was lovely. We were here,
Yeah.
but you still went home alone.
Right.
You still went home and you felt lonely. But God told us all the time, you know, we can be lonely, but you're still never alone.
That's right.
Never alone.
I'm still here, regardless of how lonely you feel.
Yeah.
I hear you. You know what I mean? It's so gratifying that God hears you.
Yes.
You know, it's one thing to man.
You
if
know
he
it-
don't hear you,
Ooh.
you in trouble.
That's right. That's the truth.
If he don't hear you, you're in trouble. And I can cry out to God, and I know he hears me.
Yeah.
Because
Yes.
he answers.
Yes.
You know?
Yes.
Because he answers. He answers through that text. Hey, girl. How
Yes.
you doing today? I was just texting you. You was a part of my spirit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or I get a call from my sister. Hey, I just want you to pray. And you not even knowing I ain't prayed in the last 3
Yeah.
days.
Right.
Because I couldn't.
Last
You know what I
week
mean?
or so.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because I couldn't. I just couldn't pray. But
But
then
he
you
still
say,
give
hey,
it to you.
I need prayer. I need you to pray for me. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? And I can't even pray for myself.
Come
That's
on.
the truth.
You know?
Come on.
And then he uses me as a vessel to be able to still bring somebody else out.
Yeah.
That's how I know. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, prayer changes things.
Yes.
Prayer is a weapon.
Yeah.
You know, you have to use your weapons that God has given us to bring us out of these pits.
Yes.
And sometimes, yes, he puts us there, you know what I mean, to in order for us to see, hey, I can still bring you out.
Yeah.
I'm still here. But at
Yeah.
the same time, we put ourselves
Yep.
in pits.
That's the truth.
We put ourselves in some things, you know what I mean? Because how is it that we leave church, but on the drive home, you know the glory that you just experienced
Yeah,
with God.
Oh, it be
Yeah.
high.
You knew
It
where
be
you
high.
just was with the Lord.
It be high.
You
For real.
It
knew
be
where
high.
you was. You knew
You
I
leave
was
out the door
at
speaking in
feet
tongues.
of God.
I'm telling you.
And I can't even get in my car, much less drive.
Yeah.
But then you will get home, and then how dare us ourselves then take ourselves exactly where God just delivered us from?
Well.
You know, so it's
Well.
It shows you just how loudly depression and loneliness
Yes.
speak.
Yes.
It shows
Yes.
you how
Yeah.
A lot
Yes.
of people think of it as silence. It's
Yeah.
really very loud.
It's very loud.
It's you can't hear.
It's a
anything
deafening
else. You
silence,
yes,
right?
you can't
How is
think of
that like
anything
it's double? Like what? Deafening silence.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like
And then-
how is it? But it is so loud.
It is.
You have no other, like, you don't know what to do. You don't know where to go. And you're seeking, you're calling on God, and you know what to do. I mean, and people can say, I've been in church my whole life, and it's kind of like it's a ritual. Well, so now it's no more rituals. It's no more, you go to church on Sunday, go to church on Tuesday, then go back, you come on, if you're part of the dance team, come on this day. And if you're part of the ministry where you sing, then you come on this day. And if you're a greeter, you come on this day, and so forth. So it's no more as usual. It's no more church as usual. And so what I heard recently was when I was talking to God, he said the refiner's fire. You're in the refiner's fire.
I can
And
believe
and
that.
the refiner's fire, refining happens. What happens in the refiner's fire when you are isolated, when you are depressed, when you are alone, even though the church is in me, I'm a walking, talking, breathing church. But what about the church, forsaking not the assembling of ourselves together, for the manner of some is?
My
What
God.
about us being together? What about us touching? What about us hugging? And it's like, oh, don't touch me no more. All this kind of stuff. Everything that we knew came to a screeching halt. So then you had to really seek God.
Yes.
So then sometimes when you couldn't pray, when all you could do was cry, those were tears. When all you could do was write, right? When all you could do was text. When all you could do, and then people don't see you, but they see you, and then you scared to show you. Because you prideful, and I'm the one that prays for everybody. I'm the one that holds it up. I'm the one that does this. I'm the one that does that. But what happens to the one that does
Yes.
it all when you're in this posture? What happens to that? So we're in
My
the
God.
refiner's fire, and in the refiner's fire, right, gold goes through a process. Okay, it goes through a process, and in the refiner's fire, it talks about it in Peter, in 1 Peter, when it talks about going through the refiner's fire, right? These are tests. We all have tests. You got a test, you got a test, we all got a test, but you can't peek on my stuff to see what the answers are, because
Yeah.
everybody's answers are different.
Yes.
But we going through the same test.
Glory to
It's the
God.
same test, but a different angle, a different way. And
Glory
you're like, I
to
was depressed,
God.
but I went through this. I was depressed, but I was depressed, but I went through that. We all had a felt depression in one way or another, and you think that the pastors don't have depression. They do. We do, right? You think that evangelists don't have depression. They do. We do. Teachers, preachers, it does not matter what you're called to, but if you're not connected, if you really don't know, my God, today, if you don't know him, seek him. If you
Yes,
don't, if there is a
Jesus.
process, you say, I don't know how to seek him, call on him.
Jesus.
Sometimes all you can say is Jesus.
Jesus.
Sometimes you can say, Lord, help me. Sometimes that's all it takes is for you to
Jesus.
open your mouth. So if you can't, wave your flag, wave your banner, whatever you got to do to get to him. Sometimes you gotta crawl to him, right? And we was, listen, in a pit, but you can't die in the pit.
My.
Don't let your pit stop become your burial plot.
Oh,
Jesus.
don't let your pit stop become
Become
your burial.
plot.
That's good.
Because that's what happens. We get into the pit and we stop. We don't keep moving. We sometimes, like you said, we dig ourselves into a pit, and then it's like, oh, I guess this is where I'm supposed to die. No, you dug yourself there, but you can still get out. You
Yes.
can still come out. And even in that, if we open our mouth
Yeah.
and say something, those that are walking around the pit will know that you're there.
Right.
Those that are walking
Well-
by can reach down, can work together to bring you out. Just like you said with the test, something that God showed it to me with being in an assembly and being in the church is, yes, we all go through the same test. We can't look off of each other's tests because the answers are different.
Yes.
The same questions, they're just in a different sequence. So what my question 1 is, maybe your question 4.
Yeah.
So I can tell you, hey, the answer to this question is this right here.
Yeah.
So your question 2 is her question 5.
Oh,
So you can share the answers. They're in the different
Yeah.
sequences. You can't cheat off of me, so you got to talk to me.
There you go.
Right,
You got to
help.
talk to me
Right.
to understand what the
Instead
answers
of
are.
watching you from a distance. Instead of not
Instead of
saying,
stalking you,
yeah,
you
instead
gotta
of
come
stalking
and-
you,
you
walking
gotta
up
build a
behind
relationship
you,
with
build a relationship.
So that
Right.
we have to communicate. We have to exchange.
Yes.
But I can't exchange with you behind my mask.
Come on.
Well,
But what, when you're saying exchanging, and a lot of times you're saying build a relationship, but what if you don't have a relationship with yourself?
Ooh.
Well.
So now I'm building
Yep.
a relationship with you. I'm building a relationship with you, but I don't even
know
have a
who I am.
relationship
Come.
with me.
That's where
She
it starts.
preached
You
the
know,
choir right
so
there.
if you can't even encourage yourself,
You can't encourage
if you
yourself.
can't help yourself get
Help
out
us
the
today,
pit,
God.
if you can't encourage yourself, you know, and that's where we get stuck
Yeah.
in the pit.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know, that's where we get stuck in the pit because you can't even do what you would do for somebody else for yourself.
That's the truth. So now
That's
you're in a
true.
whole
You know, that's
identity
True.
crisis.
Yes, yes.
And
Well,
now
that's
you're
true.
like, Lord, you know what I mean? I know I'm your vessel, Lord. I know I'm supposed to do this, Lord. While you're in the pit, you're knowing all of this, but why are you not taking advantage of exactly what God gave you?
Well, you
You
can
know,
tell everybody else what
But
to
you
do.
can tell everybody else, but just like you said, it's relationship. Relationship. But if you truly have a relationship with God, you have to truly have a relationship with you.
That's right.
You have to truly have a relationship with
That's
you.
right.
And that's where it starts. And a lot of times that's where we go into depression because we are our worst enemy.
Yeah.
We knock
I'm about to
our
run
own
around
self
the church.
down.
Can I
run?
We tell ourselves
Don't run
unworthy
yet.
we are.
Don't run
You
yet.
know,
It's almost
we
time
tell-
for you to run.
We tell each other, we tell ourselves how unworthy we are.
Yes.
And nobody else never even told
Ooh,
you
that's
this.
good. That's
You know
good.
what I mean?
I'm
Like,
running.
who
I'm running.
told you?
I'm
What
running.
Pastor said, who
I'm running.
told you?
Then who told
I'm
you
running.
that?
Who told
I'm
you?
running.
That's right.
I'm
Who
running.
told you
Who
that?
told you that?
Who
I'm running.
told you
I'm
that?
running.
Like I told you, spoke yourself that you wasn't good enough. So guess what? You didn't get the job.
What? You spoke your own
But
bit
even
up.
when you look at it, you said you weren't good enough. so
Yes.
You didn't try.
You didn't
Exactly.
try.
You went halfway dressed, clothes wrinkled. You didn't open your mouth. So how do you expect to get?
You slouching.
I knew I wasn't gonna get it.
Sounding
I know you
monotone.
already driving to it, talking about I don't even know why I'm going to this job interview.
You
Yeah.
might as well turn around.
Well,
But then you go anyway, and then you discredit yourself the whole time you sitting there.
so what I had to learn was God showed me this time that my problem is I have to keep going.
Yeah.
Because I would get into a stumbling block and then I would just stop and I would
Lose.
meditate on that.
Yeah. What
Walk
happened
right
was
through it. It
we-
say walk right through
Yes.
it.
Yes.
Walk right through it.
And
so we
then,
lost momentum.
Right,
That's what happened every
right.
time. Momentum. Got to keep going forward. It's forward. Even if you're going slow.
yeah. You
But
gotta
as
keep going.
long as you go forward. Right?
I tell everybody around me, in order to get through, you have to first go through.
Right.
That's true.
And I
Gotta
say
better
it all
cross.
the
The
time.
refiner's
So
fire.
if this is what I have to go through in order to get through,
Yeah.
I appreciate it, God. Thank you for my trials.
Yeah.
Thank you for my tribulations.
It ain't for
Even
us
in
anyway.
times-
That's right.
It's not for us anyway.
Yeah, but it
it's
can
for somebody
be.
Yeah.
else.
Yeah.
But it can be just for
Yeah,
you.
That's
that's
true.
true.
Because just like we just stated, if you don't even have that relationship with,
With yourself.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
you
That's
know,
right.
how can then you
That's
then
right.
have try to create relationships with Him, or how can I then try to create that relationship with God? And God is saying, "Hey, I created you.
Yeah.
I put purpose in you.
Yeah.
You are here for a purpose
That's
because
good.
of purpose of me.
Yeah.
That also comes from them seeds that the devil put in your head. So
And the
can't blame everything on
and
the devil
the ideas that you
because it's
have
ourself.
that's right, from however you grew up,
Yeah,
from whatever
that-
you was
that's what I'm
around,
saying.
from
That's what
whatever
I'm
you
saying right
saw,
there.
from other people talking,
Talking,
like all that kind of stuff.
That
It,
right there.
it
Yeah.
shapes who you are. It does, and it doesn't come from the master,
Yeah.
from who he said that you were.
right.
Exactly.
And so that
Who you are.
identity crisis that we have with ourselves, we can't really pull nobody else out the pit until we get out the pit.
Exactly.
That's it.
But so then you working in reverse. You
My.
you work in reverse. You helping everybody else, but you still, hey,
Well,
hey, I'm down here too. I know I
Yeah,
pushed y'all
I
up
pushed
and
you up.
everything. So we can't die in the pit. We
Right.
can't die in the pit. we cannot die in a pit. So that is depression, that's anxiety, that's isolation, that's all of that. And it can be spiritual and natural. And so that natural thing becomes spiritual, and that spiritual thing becomes natural, right? And if you're not careful, it can cause trauma, right? Right? Trauma from the inside out and from the outside in. And it's World War Me. It's really not everybody else, and it's really not everything else. But if you were not connected, how do you get through to get through? How do you get through to get to? How do you do that, especially during a time like this?
Oh,
And you know
my
what?
God.
I hate to cut it, right? I hate to stop it, right? But we got to. Don't forget to like and share and comment. We're going to go to part 2 in just a little while. We're going to come back. But listen, if you're enjoying this conversation that we're talking about, we're going to come back and talk about World War Me, our identity crisis,
War Me.
right? We're going to talk about that, how our church lives matter with World War Me, our identity in Him, right? How do we find ourselves?
Well,
So if you feel led to sow into this ministry, there will be something that pops up on your screen. You can go to experiencethelaunch.org where you can sow, or you can also go to, you could text to give or
321.
321. Text to 84321. And also you can do it through Cash App. If you have Cash App, it is the launch is Launch Church SA. So $ Launch Church SA. I hope that you're enjoying this. It was a tough conversation, but we needed to have it.
Yes.
And we want to make sure that you are walking in the way that God wants you to walk, and that you are going through everything that God needs you to go through to be connected to Him. Not just to the Launch Church. There are many churches in our nation, many ministries that you can be connected to, and to really walk this thing out, because church lives matter. My life matters, your life, and your life matters. And we want to make sure that you don't stay in the pit. We want to make sure that you don't die at the pit stop. We want to make sure that you continue going forward. It is a forward motion. Don't forget to like, to share, and comment. We want to hear from you. Don't be afraid to reach out. A lot of times we have all of this on us, and I'm scared to reach out. But don't be afraid. We all, iron sharpens iron, and we all need somebody to help us out.
Amen.
Yes.
Even the one pushing everybody out.
Amen.
We need somebody else to pull us out. So join us again right here for the second part of this conversation, where we will be talking about our identity crisis. And basically, we want to definitely talk about our identity in Him. Church lives matter. Don't forget, like, share, and comment. We love you guys. This is
Love
Launch TV. Share,
Share,
like,
share.
comment, right? Share, like,
All you have,
comment.
everybody. Send it.
Send it to everybody you know, because it's going to help somebody.
All them.
We love you guys. Thank you.